All right. Dennis Prager was on the PVD podcast, which I enjoy his podcast. I really like his podcast. I don't always agree with what is said by his guests, but I enjoy his platform. Um, but Dennis Prager evidently wrote a 15-page letter to Candace Owens, and he and her have a friendship, or at least have had a friendship. I believe still have a friendship. But he wanted to address her anti-Semitism. Okay, I've not watched all of the content that Candace Owens has put out. Uh, Maybe she has said some things that I would believe is anti-Semitic, but thus far, not really. She obviously has her opinion as to some agendas, as to some of the members of the Jewish community, Israel anti-Zionist, and I just have to comment on a couple of things that he says. For starters, he says virtually everything that Candace Owens says about Jews, Zionism, and Israel is wrong. Okay, and he says that she has said that the state of Israel was basically founded for the refuge of pedophiles. I've listened to her comment on this, and that is not what she says. She does not in any way, shape, or form say that the state of Israel was formed to harbor pedophiles. She has made the claim, true or not, she's made the claim that American pedophiles have fled to Israel and that Israel will not extradite them back to the United States. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it's true. If it is true, that's horrible. He also uses the example that, Israel compares Israel and what has happened to Israel and the fact that Israel has created so many Palestinian refugees. He compares Pakistan, that when Pakistan created a Muslim state free from Indian rule of India, that 14 million refugees were the result of that. So maybe I'm incorrect, but I've not heard Candace say that she thought that that was okay. So I hardly think that that could be, in regards to Candace and what she said, can be used as an argument. He also says that that Zionism is like hand in hand with Judaism, and that if you try to separate current modern day Zionism and the current state of Israel, that is simply anti-Semitic, and that no Jew doesn't believe this. This is such a fallacy. Actually, Dennis, what is believed in the texts read by the Jewish people is that God has said that when the Messiah comes, Jews will return to Israel. So you tell me, Dennis, has the Messiah for the Jewish people come? Jews clearly do not believe that Christ is the Messiah. So if the Messiah has come and it's time for the Jewish people to return to Israel, then tell me who that Messiah is. This is big news. If the Messiah for the Jewish people has come, this should be on the news. This is big stuff. So I think that, I've not watched. The only content I've seen, the only time I've seen Dennis Prager, I think is how you pronounce his last name, talk about this was this one interview, in addressing the 15-page letter he wrote to Candace. But the idea that modern day Zionism is just unanimously agreed upon by Jews around the world is absurd. It's absurd. And the Jewish faith, what is believed in Judaism, again, I'm going to say it, that the state of Israel. Jews will return to the state of Israel when the Judaic belief or the Jewish people have their Messiah return to them. So again, if somebody out there knows about this Messiah that the Jewish people agree is the Messiah, tell me. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. This happens so much. So many people out there pro-Israel just are in empty rhetoric. It's just absolutely nonsense. It's just nonsense. They try to make these points hoping that their viewers are ignorant as to what is actually going on and to what they believe, and that they won't research things. And, you know, to their credit, that is in large true for a lot of people. So many of the pro-Israel people, and I'll be fair, on both sides, there are people that don't really know. They plug into a couple of channels, some of the mainstream media. They listen to some of the garbage put out there that has little content, it has little sustenance to it. And they just base their opinion based on that. And I hear a ton of it, pro-Israel rhetoric, that is just nonsense. Nonsense. I hope that Dennis sees this and will respond to me. Write me a 15-page letter about my anti-Zionism, my anti-Semitism. It's nonsense. I'll bet you there was a panel of several people there. One guy, I forget his name, sits to the right of the host of this show. Is one of the hosts. He's on there all the time. Is very pro-Israel, pro-Zionism, and if he doesn't know this, I'm almost certain he's Jewish. If there's a panel of Jews sitting on this show that does not understand that the Torah or the Bible says that Jews will return to Israel when the Messiah comes, I would be shocked. I'd be shocked. This is nonsense. Let me hear what you have to say, Dennis. Tell me.